Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bifazil Bismillah Rahman Rahim. We were seeing about the discussions that was happening with the magicians and with the Firaun, and magicians who have now understood the real miracle that was shown by Musa alayhi salam, who have expressed their belief in Allah and in the prophets. Even after hearing the warning message from Firaun, they just kept asking this dua and then confronted him. Now let's see what happens. And said the chiefs of people of the Firaun. I mean the people who are in the cabinet of Firaun said and advised Firaun like this. Are you going to live? Are you going to leave Musa alayhi salam and his people to cause corruption in the land and forsake you and your gods? He said, who the Firaun replied and said, we will kill their sons and we will let live their women. So this is what we are going to do. And people who are going to follow him, we are not just going to leave them and we will kill their sons as we were doing all these years. And verily, we are over them subjugators, which means we have the throne and authority with us, so we can do anything we want. The authoritative decision as a dictator, he expressed these words. Now Musa alayhi salam said to his people, I mean to the Bani Israel, that seek istainu billah, seek help from Allah, wasbir and be patient, because verily the earth belongs to Allah only, and Allah has all power. So the earth belongs to Allah only. He causes to inherit it whomever he wills of his slaves. Maybe today the Firaun is the ruler, but the time will not be like this. The history will change, time will change, where Allah will inherit some others to this land. This is a constant point to be remembered, that the good end, the Akiba is not just the end, but the good end. But the good end will be for the righteous ones. They said, the Bani Israel said, nothing has changed. They expressed discontent over Musa alayhi salam. They said, we have been harmed from before you. Before you that come to us. Before you came to us, we have been tortured by Firaun. Even after you coming here, nothing has changed. They were hasty to see the decision of Allah to happen very fast. They are really hasty towards it. They said nothing has changed. Even we are suffering now. The sufferings has not changed. She said, perhaps that you have to wait for some time. Maybe your Lord that will destroy your enemy, all of it. All of a sudden, he may destroy them. And he will make you successes in the land. Then see how you will do. Then do whatever that you want. So this is a promise from Allah. This is what Musa alayhi salam said. So what happened? So we said that in the last class that we have been discussing about the two signs of Musa alayhi salam which he has shown to people. I want you people to give it a guess on a chant. The remaining signs will be discussed today. There were around 9 signs. 9 signs of Musa alayhi salam, which means 9 miracles that Musa alayhi salam has shown to the people. 9 signs. Most popular is that's what we have seen in the last class. I want you people to rewind and put it on a chat. So out of 9, 2 were discussed already, and remaining 7 we are going to do it today. So So which means that we were generally told that as if like Musa alayhi salam went to Firaun a day, he professed and he has not accepted. It's not one day affair. It's not a one day meeting. It was for many years. He kept advising and admonishing Firaun and his people. So, and that's what Allah says, and certainly we seized the people of Firaun with years of famine. So this is, Mufassirin says, this is the third sign from Allah to prove that Musa alayhi salam is a prophet. And with sinina, with years of famine or drought, you can say, and some has sinina is years, so famine, that's what you should understand. So it's a years of drought. There is no rain at all. Because of that, they had a deficit of fruits and there was a lot of famine that happened, so that they may take admonition. This is what you have to, we have to consider. When somebody is on a poverty line, if somebody's revenue has come down like anything, or if the country is not progressing like it was before, then Allah says we were doing it because so that they take admonition, they correct their sins, they mend their ways, and then come back to Allah. So this is also a sign that was given to them. So when they were happy, but when came to them the good, they said, for us this, we will take benefit from the good. When the treasury was full, they enjoyed it. But and if afflicts them any bad, if any problem comes to them, they immediately said that they ascribe evil woman to Musa, which means they said all their problems is because of Musa. Because Musa is professing and opposing the idol worship, and very particularly Musa is opposing Firaun. So this is happening. They ascribe all evil things that happens to them to Musa and who are with him. Because of Musa and who are with him, we have been facing some bad things. That's what they assume. Behold, Allah says, hold on. Behold, only their evil moments are with Allah. It is sent from Allah. And but most of them are not, they know. So what happened? And they said, whatever you bring us there with of a sign, so that you may bewitch with us, or you want to do a seher on us, so that we will accept your belief, then not we are in you are going to be believers. Whatever that you show, this is an outright message from the people of the chiefs of the Pharaoh that we are not going to believe in him. We surely see you as a bewitcher, which means a person who is a magician or who do seher, and we are not going to believe in you. So what happened? So next, fifth one. So Allah sent on them floods, continuous series of floods. Even today, yesterday or couple of days before, China is also facing the same. Even the Europe is flooded so far. So it's a flood. And the locust, last year by this time we were seeing something like this in India also, the locust. And seventh one is the lice. Eighth one is the frog. And the last one is the blood. There were a lot of literature on how these things have afflicted them. Just to give you very briefly, which means it was continuous floods. Earlier it was famine and drought and loss of fruits. Now it is flood, continuous floods. The flood, I have to just tell you like this. There was two seas. There is a river that was flowing inside Egypt. Pharaoh and his chiefs and his people are living on the one bank of the river. Musa alayhi salam and the Bani Israels, or the people who believed in him, are living in the other side of the other bank of the river. So whatever the punishment that they see, it's like eastern and the western part of the city. So whatever the problem that comes only to the side of Firaun and the chief. Those problem doesn't come to Musa alayhi salam. This itself is a crystal clear explanation for people to understand the message of Musa alayhi salam, or understand the sign of Musa alayhi salam. When the flood has happened, it has flooded only the one side of the part, the portion where the Pharaoh and his chiefs were living. The locust is so much of locust that it has eaten up all their vegetation, all their grains. The lice, this lice, Mufassirin says, wherever that they see, they could only see the lice. In their food, in their head, in their clothes, in their treasury, everywhere, it is just lice. And the frogs were so profound that everywhere they kept hearing the noise, the frogs, one after the other, one after the other. And then the blood, which means when this Pharaoh and the chief come and take the water from this river, when they take it, it converts into blood. When Musa alayhi salam and the believers comes and take it, it is a water. But for the Pharaoh and their chiefs and the people who are disbelievers, when they take water from the river, it has changed into blood. So such things has happened consequently, one after the other, as a problem which has come to the Pharaoh and the chiefs. Allah says these are the signs which is manifest. To make them clearly understand that they are wronging, they are doing sin, they are not accepting the message of the respected Prophet Musa alayhi salam. But even after facing all 9 signs from Allah, they kept doing only simply as this thing. They showed arrogance. They showed arrogance. They said, this is not new and we can face this. And our technology can meet this problem and solve this problem. And they were people who are criminals. So now you see, whenever any problem that comes to the people, they make this as a general practice to solve their problem. What is it they do? Yes, and when fall on them a punishment from Allah, that's what. The punishment which was listed before, be it be the locust or frogs or lice, whatever it is. They come to Musa alayhi salam and they said, O Musa alayhi salam, invoke for us your Lord by what he has promised to you. And they continuously say, and if you are going to remove from us the punishment, if this problem gets solved, then surely we will believe in you. And surely we will send along with you children of Bani Israel. So this is the 2 promise that they do to solve their problems. And you see, whenever the world face a problem, they have to come to Islam. So they know that Musa alayhi salam, if he invokes Allah, then this problem gets solved. And they give promise to Musa alayhi salam that if you do it, if you remove this problem, then definitely will become the believers. And also they promise that they will send the children of Bani Israel, which means we will remove them out of slavery. These 2 were the promise that they gave. So Musa alayhi salam, as usual, but when we removed from them, so Musa alayhi salam used to ask dua from Allah, and one problem gets solved. But again, they go back and they will just say this. But when we removed from them the punishment towards a fixed term, it's not a permanent solution, sir, which means the next punishment will come. So towards a fixed term, then they were to reach it, then they broke their word, which means they are not prepared. They would just say, we are not going to believe you and we will not send the children of Bani Israel, because the problem was over. So this happened for all 9 iterations. So finally what happened? Allah concludes like this. So we took retribution. So Allah doesn't punish people on the first day itself. But even after waiting for so long time, even after sending so many signs and signals and miracles for people to take admonition and to take admonition and then correct their life, but still they didn't do it. So what happened? So we took retribution from them. So we drowned them. We know that the Pharaoh and his entire troops were drowned in the sea, and because they denied in our signs. They denied in our signs, and they were heedless to them, and they were also to them heedless. We were not ready. They are not prepared to They, they were not prepared to take lessons and mend their ways. Even for us, problems comes. Whenever we face problem, we should become humble and should look for the mistakes that we were doing and then amend it instead of becoming arrogant and continuing the sin. So this is what has happened. So they become heedless and the entire troop of Firaun and their chiefs were drowned in the sea. So now Allah says, Awrasna Qawman. So what happened after this? There is no one on the other side of the bank to rule. So now it's a take home, it's a call of Musa alayhi salam and the Bani Israels to rule the entire land. The entire enemy troops were destroyed now. So we made the inheritors, the people who were weak, who were considered weak. At one point in time, they became the rulers. Considered weak in the eastern parts of the land and the western parts of it. The both sides were now being inherited by Musa alayhi salam and the believers of him, which we blessed in it and was fulfilled the word of the Lord to the best for the Bani Israel. The best for our Bani Israel because they were patient. Because they were patient. And we destroyed what used to make Firaun and his people and what they used to erect. And whatever the constructions that were there, their palaces, their lofty wells, all got destroyed. So nothing was left on the city, and everything gets destroyed. So this is how the enemies of Musa alayhi salam get destroyed. Now, different series of problem that comes to Musa alayhi salam, which is being highlighted now. Now, Jawazna. So now we know that Musa alayhi salam and the Bani Israels and the believers have crossed the sea now. So they were now moving on to a land. So some of this have already featured in Surah Al-Baqarah and in the earlier surahs. So it's going to be quite a repetition of it. So now a new set of problem that comes to Musa alayhi salam is, and we led across the children. So far, Musa alayhi salam was confronting the enemies of Islam, which is with the people who are opposite to the policy. Now he has to fight with his own people. So this is the both should happen. Either the conveying the message of Islam to the non-Muslims should also happen. Even the correcting the Muslims within the community should also happen. That's what here Musa alayhi salam is primarily going to do. So we led across the Bani Israel, the children of Israel on the sea. Then they came upon a people devoting to the idols. When they were crossing the land, they saw a troop of people who were worshipping idols. And Mufassirin says, idols, idols of theirs. And they asked now, these same Bani Israel who were just missed being saved from the sea, from the tortures of Firaun, and they asked Musa alayhi salam, "O Musa, can you make for us a god like of what they have?" Which means like the idols that they have. Can we also have a idol worship? He said, Are you mad? Verily, you are a people who are ignorant. And Mufassirin says that they have just crossed the sea. Even their legs were still wet, which means it has not dried so far. So within that fraction of second, they started thinking of how to sin, how to misbehave with Allah. And Musa alayhi salam said, "Oh, you guys, you are really ignorant. Verily, these were destroyed what they were in it. And it is a vain activity, what they used to do. It is a false." And Musa alayhi salam explained, "Aghair Allah, should other than Allah, abagikum ilaha, I seek for you a God. While He has preferred you over the worlds, Allah has preferred you. Allah has given so much of favors on you by saving you from the tortures of the Pharaoh and his chiefs." That's what he explains in the next ayah. When we saved you from the people of the Pharaoh who was afflicting you with the worst of the punishment. They were killing your sons, Have you forgotten all those things? They were killing our sons and letting live our women. And in that is a trial from a Lord great. So, which means that these people needs to be really trained on the belief on Allah and the Messenger. So, Allah made a setup now, a training program. This training program is not for the entire people, but for the Prophet alone. So that's what this ayat says. So we appointed for Musa alayhi salam 30 nights, which means 30 nights of training to educate him on how to train the people of Bani Israel. And we completed them with 10 more, which means total 40 days. 40 nights he was trained, Musa alayhi salam. So was completed the set term of his Lord for 40 nights. And said Musa alayhi salam to his brother. So he was going for a training now. So he said to his brother Harun alayhi salam, so take my place, ukhlifni, which means you have to take care of them during my absence. You should ensure that they are morally sound and they are following the religion and not getting misled. This is the task that was given to Harun alayhi salam when he was leaving. Take my place in my people. Wa aslih, which means reform them and do correct them, point out their mistakes and then keep correcting them till I come back. Wala tattabi. This is what is the instruction he gives. And do not follow the way of the corruptors. There will be people to make use of this opportunity to do a lot of mischief activities. Do not follow their path is the advice that as a brother Musa alayhi salam gives his responsibility on to the Harun alayhi salam and sets out for this. Now, the very famous incident happens with during the meeting of Allah in the 14 days, where Musa alayhi salam said, when came Musa alayhi salam to an appointed place, and wakallamahu. That's why he is always called as Musa alayhi salam is referred as Kalamullah, which means kept talking a lot. He said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so and spoke to him, his Lord. He said, now there is an interest that has come to Musa alayhi salam because he have been talking with Allah for all so many days. So can you show me? Show me so that I may look at you. So this is a wish that Musa alayhi salam expressed. We have been talking so much. I want to see you, Allah. Allah said, this is Allah replies, Allah said, never you can see me. Never it is possible for a human being to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as long as they are in the in the earth. That's why you find there is a difference. Mufassirin always says here Musa alayhi salam expresses interest to see Allah, but Allah says you can't see me. But on a contrary, with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah himself expressed interest to see him. Here Musa alayhi salam wants to see it in the earth, but Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah has taken him to Sirat Muntaha in the Mihraj to make him see. So that's the difference, and Louis Mufassirins will quote when we are reading this history. So Allah said, never you can see me, but I can give you a task. But look at the mountain near to you. Then if it remains in its place, I'm going to show my Jalalat on it. If it could dare to remain, then there is a possibility. So then you can see me. But when reveal his glory, his Lord, to the mountain, it blasted. Blasted with so much of noise. And Musa alayhi salam, and it has become dust, crumbled to dust in a fraction of a second. Such a horrific incident that has happened in front of him. He fainted, and fell down, Musa alayhi salam, unconscious. Zayyiqa, unconscious. And when he recovered, he said, yeah, now I agree that we are incapable to see you. So he said, glory be to you. Tubudu ilayk, I turn in repentance towards you, and I am the first of the believers. So with that, I would like to wind up the day. Inshallah, we will continue the further discussions of the problems that Musa alayhi salam faced with his own circle, I mean the Bani Israel, and the solutions that was given by Allah is going to be discussed in the upcoming class tomorrow, inshallah. So people who like to present can do so.